Introduction. The essence of one's life comes down to a mere couple of things: our character, our conduct, and our creations. The time we spend living on this planet, we can choose one of either two paths. We can either accept that there is only one path to success and blame our circumstances if we fail to succeed. Or we decide to be more curious and search for an infinite number of solutions to fulfill our purpose. In the first option, we limit ourselves to meeting a baseline, and in the latter, we continuously elevate that baseline and adapt with a singular focus on our purpose. Here's the wake-up call. If you have access to this book, most likely you have more access to resources, tools, and opportunities than the 80% of people on this planet. The problem is, you've probably been wired your entire life to adhere to a linear path of thinking. Graduate with a good degree or two and find a good job. For many of us, we're stuck working jobs we hate for the rest of our lives on the principle of either survival or because we've invested so much of our time into molding ourselves for this role. And I don't blame you. It can be incredibly disheartening to change something we've convinced ourselves was the correct path for a long time. I'm here to tell you there is a way out. Contrary to popular belief, you can engineer a path that allows you to reap the rewards of your passions. However, it does require a significant mindset shift to operate on an uncommon path. This book is the first part of a series that provides the exact roadmap for someone who is looking to break out of the 9-to-5 work model. It focuses primarily on how to shift your mindset to start thinking more like an entrepreneur and to start establishing your game plan for life. Whether you're struggling with the initial idea or don't know a clear way on how to execute your vision, this book is for you. My story. My name is Mikey Peres. I'm a serial entrepreneur that operates more than 5 companies. I've developed a high aptitude for learning skill sets that maximizes my time for output production, fast, and I learned how to scale these to build efficient systems, all while traveling the world to my heart's content. It wasn't always a smooth ride. In fact, I struggled with my fair share of childhood setbacks. But the lessons I've learned along the course of my journey have inspired me to pass along the template for those who are looking to achieve the same things. From a young age, I knew I was different. It was harder for me to learn in a classroom like the other kids, due to my ADHD diagnosis. I grew up in a very strict religious, Orthodox Jewish household. However, my room became my sanctuary, and my developing passion for computers quickly turned into a childhood business. From there, I realized all the possibilities of how I could leverage one skill to service hundreds of people with the little resources I've had at the time. What started as a temporary escape in my bedroom ended up being the opening to my journey of building and scaling multiple businesses. I believe that anyone with the right mindset, tools, and tenacity can achieve great success in their life. Not everyone is wired to think like an entrepreneur. However, with consistent training and seeing a different way to do things, anyone can begin to shift their mindset to start creating a life outside the common path. 1. How to think like an entrepreneur. Building companies involve a completely different mindset and strategy as working for a corporation. For many of us, we've been taught our whole lives to do things a certain way, so stepping out of that might feel very unintuitive to us. But once you start to train your mind to become more entrepreneurial, you can start to bridge this gap quickly. Linear models versus exponential. For most people who have jobs, our income expectations follow a linear pattern. It increases in increments over the years if we work hard for it. However, our salaries are inevitably capped below a certain amount. Also, we are often tied down to the job for at least 35, 40 hours a week, leaving little time behind to work on other aspects of our lives. Entrepreneurs don't follow the linear model. It is expected they must put in a lot of time and grit in the beginning to only see relatively small results. But once they have a foundation and good systems established, they can expect to see the value of their work start to pay off in larger quantities. Their growth is exponential. More importantly, an entrepreneur is not constrained to one job. The successful ones develop self-sustaining systems while simultaneously growing the company or companies from a macro level. The tricky part. If building a company was a piece of cake, everyone would have done it. Sometimes what stops someone from pursuing an alternative path to the 9-to-5 is simply fear. They don't have the confidence that whatever they work hard on will pay off exponentially in the future, whereas having a job provides a sense of security that you can collect a paycheck in timely increments. The hurdle is getting past this fear. How do you develop the confidence that your plan will evolve into something that produces the greatest results? Surprisingly, it's not rocket science, but it does require you to invest a little time into finding out what it is you can do to leverage your unique skill sets for the maximum return. Going back to the drawing board. Take a step back and ask yourself this. What would you do if money didn't matter? This important question is the first step to recalibrating your life, from doing what you have to do to survive to doing what you love to do. Why is this question important? It's much easier to find a way to make money doing the things you love, rather than force yourself to love a job you dislike, but have to do for money. Finding how you can leverage your existing skills and unique interests to make money requires a bit of abstract thinking and creativity. For example, if creating art is your passion, it might be hard to make a living solely off your artwork. However, you can leverage the same depth and artistic intuition to offer a more diverse range of services, ones that can create more monetary value. Once you learn how to make money efficiently and consistently with these skills, you can begin to focus on what you truly love, instead of maintaining the day-to-day. More on this in the next section. Specialized skills like graphic design, web design, content creation, photography are skills that are well sought after. The important thing is that you find things you truly enjoy doing and work on excelling at them. The more passionate you are about something, the more likely it will show through the quality of the work. What you don't want to do is to focus on a skill that ties you down to one type of job. For example, if you're a car mechanic or an accountant, you're limited to performing one specialized task. There's little room for you to expand on those skill sets to create more services. Objective. Think about what you're good at and the skills that make you unique. Then focus on how you can repurpose these skills to provide services. Honing your skills. You want to spend at least 6 months carving out an area of interest and mastering a skill set. In the beginning, it may be hard to acquire clients. You want to undervalue yourself so that you can compete with companies that have well-established resources. This might mean offering services at a lower cost. But this is a little cost in comparison to the experience, clientele, and value you will gain in the longer run. I started with web hosting and web design using my skills as a software engineer. I sought after prominent public figures. Luckily, there wasn't a shortage of badly designed websites. I would create a superior system over the weekend, and then send them a courteous message basically offering what I have created for free. Of course, I had my mixed share of responses, negative and positive. The point is, the elated responses ended up helping me tenfold in the long run. As soon as I got one server going, I could host multiple clients' sites at the same time, requiring minimal effort to onboard new clients. This is the type of model that I want you to think about. The kind that achieves more results with little increases in time and energy. Once I found one way my skills could be leveraged to offer value, I quickly searched for ways to diversify this skill set and build meaningful services. But having the technical expertise is important. First, for hiring, you can't tell the difference between what's good or bad if you don't have the skill set down in the first place. To ensure that the company can sustain itself, I needed to make sure I had the right people down to produce the same level of quality work consistently. Objective. Master a skill set and search for ways to diversify them. Hire people that can replicate these results. Testing and recalibrating. The ultimate pitfall, I believe, for any startup or company is complacency. You should never get too comfortable with any work models or your services. With a rapidly changing environment, especially in tech and business, you have to always be primed to adapt. Always seek ways to improve your offer. This is where diversification helps as well. Instead of offering only one thing, make it so that your clients can rely on you for many services. Think about going to the Apple Store. You're not only getting a phone, but you can get a wireless charging port, a laptop, or a new set of headphones. You're not going to get those products from anywhere else because they're so interconnected and optimized. Don't be afraid of going back to the drawing board. To optimize a product or service might take several reiterations, but it will help you stay ahead of the curve. A successful company is one that is indispensable in the market. 2. The survival cost problem. I am now going to explain a problem that is pertinent for most aspiring entrepreneurs. That is the survival cost problem. For the majority of us, our mental or physical capital is allocated towards working, so that we can cover our survival costs. These are the necessary costs it takes for us to survive. In order to move away from this type of work model, and to start building the companies we truly love, it makes sense for us to cut our costs to the minimum. This allows us to free up the mental capital in order to work on our craft. The catch. Sounds easy enough, right? Stop eating out at restaurants. Perhaps reduce your rent by moving home for a while. But you have to ask yourself this: are you willing to give up comfort temporarily for a greater cause? Most people constantly feel the need to cash in with short-term gratifications, but the real price is the long-term returns. Few out there are willing to wait, which is why this is the trap. To ascribe to a certain lifestyle, people will continue to spend the majority of their time working a job they don't love, leaving little to no time for them to develop their skills and engineer a different path. How to get out of the trap. Beating the survival cost problem isn't rocket science. It just requires a bit of mental discipline and focus on the end goal, which will be expanded in the next section. The fact is, it's going to be very hard for you to follow through if you don't know why it is you're giving up these short-term gratifications. This is why changing your mindset around time, work, and exponential value is so important. Most employees work by specific numbers. They are tied to either an hourly rate or a salary. They are motivated by the next paycheck, when in reality, if they were to stop working tomorrow, they would lose their source of income. Conversely, entrepreneurs try to build capital and value for long-term sustainability. They might have to put in way more hours than the average employee. But once they build systems and have profitable work models, they begin to see an exponential increase in their income. More importantly, they no longer have to put in the same amount of time and energy to generate results. Their hard work in the beginning stages begins to reward them consistently in the future. Have a definite plan and exit strategy. Create a plan that will allow you to leave the job you dislike to focus on your passion and craft. Once you reduce your survival costs, you will utilize the freed up capital to become a master of your trade. Having a plan at the back of your mind will keep your foot on the pedal towards reaching your goals and mitigating your expenses. Cut down your survival costs. Make 2 expense lists, one for necessities and another for luxuries. Aim to remove everything off the luxury list for a year. You will begin to find yourself with more cash flow, which means more flexibility and time to develop your skill sets as an entrepreneur. Identify ways you can reduce your existing survival costs. Rent and food. Move home with your parents temporarily if that's an option, or scout for locations that are lower in rent than you usually pay. Instead of ordering food in, make grocery lists and prep your food for the week. If you go to a gym, find cheaper options. Take public transportation instead of driving, as long as it doesn't take too much time. Beating the survival cost problem requires you to go against your intuition, to rewire your brain to delay the gratification of money in the short run in order to break out of the common path. Having your priorities in place is essential to keep you on the trajectory of building a company you love and generates value in the long run. 3. Visualization. Visualization is a fundamental technique I recommend using for building your company. Your vision will pivot you to keep hitting those goalposts and navigate you through the many obstacles you will encounter through the entrepreneurial journey. The most successful businesses were founded upon a vision. First, you need to become crystal clear about what your vision entails. Everyone has a dream, or something they're deeply passionate about achieving. This is most likely the thing you would be doing if money didn't matter. Think long and hard about what it is that drives you. Write it down. Have it somewhere visible. Better yet, sharing it with others might keep you subconsciously more accountable to it. Once you have a clear vision in place, now you create actionable steps that can help you achieve this. My vision pertains to expediting research on human aging. Also to own the home of my dreams overlooking the coast of California. Built half glass for my biological research, and the other half dedicated to tech. How does creating tech startups lead to here? I didn't quite know how they would all relate and meet each other at first, but once I began building companies, it all started to become more clear. This is what my roadmap looks like. Build successful technology startups, enter the VC industry, and mentor others through the rough entrepreneurial journey. In the process, develop connections with the greatest minds in the world that can help facilitate a collective effort towards biological research. I believe that biological research these days is no longer purely about biology. Technology plays an equally important part in how we can mitigate certain ailments and the aging process. I can leverage my over 10 years of experience in tech and my well-built network to help make substantial strides in this industry. Increase the number of outlets. It can be overwhelming trying to imagine how you're going to get from zero to do something you absolutely love. This is why I recommend the command and conquer approach. It's helpful to break up large, overwhelming tasks into smaller tasks with a clear finish line. Many tend to get caught up in a limited frame of thinking of, I can only get there if I do this one thing. Oftentimes, this is not true. There are multiple routes you can take to get to the same destination. Once you overcome this hard-headed belief in a straight-line path, the road will become more clear and opportunities endless. I started a web hosting business, and once that took off and became self-sustainable, I was able to work on other projects: SEO, new publication websites, journalism, cloud computing, podcasting. These all can either run on their own or symbiotically work together to help our clients achieve the best results. I can utilize my tech background and interest in current events to build valuable connections and experience, which can help me build the resources I need to conduct my biotech research. My end goal is to be able to build on both of these passions simultaneously. Like in step 1, take an abstract lens and devise some options you can creatively reach your goals. Invest your energy outside of your current job to build one. Once this becomes successful, the path and discipline needed to create others like it will become more obvious and achievable. The more confidence you build in achieving these business ideas, the closer you will be towards leaving your day job to work on your passions full-time. Streamline the process. For every company you create, establish roles and job descriptions. Remember, you want to build systems that can eventually run on their own, which is why you need to be clear on the tasks you want to gradually offload to others, so you can focus on what you're truly good at. Don't be afraid to tear down and rebuild your existing work models at any given moment. You need to be always ready to adapt to changing environments, and do whatever it takes to make sure your services come unrivaled at the top. This requires you to have strong internal and streamlined infrastructure in place. This is why I recommend oscillating between building the internal infrastructure, this is hiring, training, setting up work systems, and expanding the company using your unique skill sets, networking, researching, scaling, building, at 80-20 intervals. Ensure your vision adds value to others. A vision is meant to be shared. One that is compelling enough will exponentially make your company and ideas more valuable. Steve Jobs' vision was to universalize the personal computer, and today Apple products are an indispensable part of people's lives. Elon Musk's vision was to initialize the travel to Mars for humans, and this translated into futuristic electric cars, batteries, and rockets. Undoubtedly, the top companies in the world are driven by a larger purpose. Your vision must be important and prioritized enough so that you can't get sidetracked from achieving it. Leaders like Musk could easily take on different business opportunities or projects with the resources he has. But he oscillates his time between two of his companies, Tesla and SpaceX. He is driven to fulfill his primary vision through these means, and the lack of distraction contributes to the unrivaled capability of these companies. Your vision is the steering wheel for achieving your dreams, and also the blueprint for breaking out of the 9-to-5. Have a clear idea of what it truly is you desire to accomplish, and start building business projects that will get you closer to your vision. Ensure your vision also includes or serves others in a larger sense. 4. The 5-year plan. Setting up a timely plan is quintessential to getting out of the rat race and engineering work you truly love. Your 5-year plan should consist of the actionable steps that lead to accomplishing your overall vision. It's concise, time manageable, and realistic. Keep in mind, given that your vision is as full and ambitious as it should be, achieving everything in 5 years might not be guaranteed. However, the important factor here is that the turbulence and momentum you created from going full speed on achieving these milestones will get you further along the path than if you didn't have a well laid out plan. Create actionable steps. Identify the critical things you must do to get where you want to be. Laying out a physical roadmap on paper might be helpful to organize your thoughts around your vision. The first step might be to optimize your skill sets and develop a source of passive income so you can focus on your true craft and passion. Year 1, broken down into manageable increments, might look like this. Identify what you truly love to do, what makes you unique, and your vision. Reduce survival costs and use extra time and energy to focus on skill sets. Identify a skill set that can be repurposed and create different income streams/paths from it. Spend 6 months mastering your craft and also start acquiring clients and a stellar reputation. Set up a plan to start outsourcing your daily tasks so you can focus on expanding the company. Build off existing work models or readapt them. Once you start acquiring more clients and can afford to offset some of your tasks, you should make a detailed plan for building a robust internal infrastructure. Training a competent team of project managers to organize technical tasks and employees will decrease the amount of energy you need to personally expend on managing the day-to-day workflow. Finding the right people can be nothing short of brutal, but once you get there, it will be well worth the initial trouble. Remember, once you can subtract yourself from the maintenance tasks and focus on your unique skills, your company will undoubtedly expand and become more valuable. Create reusable training guides that your team can easily follow, and spend time finding the perfect work system that can help organize your team. This is crucial, especially if your company is completely remote. And don't be afraid of tearing down and rebuilding if it will lead to better results or outcomes for your company. I initially experimented with ClickUp for the company work system, but after a few months it was clear to me it wasn't completely right for the team. I switched over to Notion, and since then, it has contributed greatly to outgrowing a team of 27 people. Remove yourself from the equation. Once you have a proper system going, you can move on to growing the company or developing other streams. Like your skill sets, you should always diversify your services to meet the demands of the changing environment. Strategy, development, and networking should be at the forefront of your attention, not maintenance duties. Back to the social media example, do you notice how tech companies are always tweaking their services or interfaces to better appeal to the public? People are constantly looking for the next and better trend, and it's easier than ever for an idea to go viral on the internet. In the past 2 years, we've witnessed a trend towards owning digital assets like Bitcoin and NFTs. As a consequence of this, a rise in cryptocurrency-related companies and marketplaces have arisen and is even traded publicly. My point here is, you cannot let yourself get complacent. Your energy needed to be allocated for a significant portion of the time, building on new ideas, strategies, and expanding your team and roles as needed. I started only doing web design, and now I manage companies dedicated to news and current events, search engine optimization, and cloud computing. I was able to grow these operations from the skill sets I had and the networks I acquired through building my early day operations. Learning to build teams correctly helps me monumentally in building and scaling other companies. Getting to know what clients need helped me identify other services I could create that would come high in demand. For example, public figures need a good, reputable website. They also need technical implementation to get their rankings to the highest. Potentially, they might even want to publish their own books. This is why I've set up interconnected systems that can optimize these separated tasks. Conclusion. Think of this as the blueprint from leaving the 9 to 5. Many of us desire to do the things we love to do, instead of having to do. But getting started on the path can be confusing and scary. I wrote this book to help you reframe your mindset, establish a vision, and implement the necessary steps to achieve the life you always wanted. Having a job might satisfy your temporary desire for stability, but in the long run, might cost you from achieving your true and fullest potential. After you spend some time scoping out what it is that you truly love to do, establish a game plan to achieve doing that for life. Once you have the proper structures in place, it shouldn't even be a question of whether you should transition out of your current job or not. The beginning stages are most likely the hardest. It might take some time before your ideas start gaining the kind of traction or success you want. But remember, every tiny step forward is a calibrated step closer to your vision. And the lessons you learn from applying yourself diligently to your goals will be instrumental to how you proceed in the future. Through all the growing pains and rebuilds, I learned an incredible deal about how to allocate my time between different kinds of tasks, how to build remote teams, and how to develop long-term relationships with clients and partners. The truth is, the thirst you gain from pushing forward will never end. Once you get started, you are bound to want more, create more, seeing the opportunities for things greater out there. The key is to always stay hungry for the things that seem out of reach. Once you've grabbed what had seemed out of reach enough times, you will gain more confidence in your own capability to set wider and wilder milestones. It's about building the confidence to go all the way without burning out. Let this be the beginning of creating your ticket out of the 9 to 5. The power is within your mind to achieve any vision you set out to have.